Thrasea challenging Nero, Marcus Aurelius having empire foisted upon him, Seneca bravely facing his death, Cato resisting Julius Caesar, and Epictetus living through slavery. Life demands courage. The secret to the good life, according to the Stoics, was virtue. We tend to think of virtue or virtuous as being this like sort of no fun thing that means you can't do this or that. The Stoics saw virtue as the sum and bottom, the highest good in life, the way to get what you want and the way to be the kind of person that you wanted to be. And actually for the Stoics, there's 4 virtues: courage, temperance or self-discipline, justice, and wisdom. I'm Ryan Holiday. I've written now a number of books about Stoic philosophy. I'm also now in the middle of a 4-book series on the cardinal virtues. But virtue is how I try to live my life. I wear this necklace. The 4 virtues are symbols, reminders, not of abstract ideas to me, but of how I try to live my life. As it says on the back, acta non verba, deeds, not words. You live by the virtues, you embody them in the things that you do on a daily basis. And in today's episode, I want to talk about those 4 cardinal virtues and what the Stoics can teach us about living them. I think C.S. Lewis is right when he says that courage is all of the virtues at their testing point, right? It takes courage to pursue truth in the world. It takes courage to fight for the right thing. It takes courage to be disciplined in a time of excess. And when I think of the Stoics, I think of them defined as they were in these moments of courage. Thrasea challenging Nero, Marcus Aurelius having empire foisted upon him and stepping up, dreaming that he has shoulders made of ivory, getting over his doubts and imposter syndrome and choosing to do it. I think of Seneca bravely facing his death when Nero's goons came to kill him. I think of Cato resisting Julius Caesar and fighting to the death. I think of Epictetus living through slavery and not being broken by it. It takes courage to live in this world. And in fact, Seneca says that. He says, sometimes it takes courage just to stay alive in this world. And I think it's true. You think of the pandemic, you think of economic uncertainty, you think of what it takes to start a business or to raise a family or to talk to a stranger across the room. Life demands courage because the world is a scary, unpredictable place. And the Stoics knew this. They lived in times that were more unpredictable, that were more capricious. They had tyrants and they had mobs and they had death and disease that make our cushy modern times seem pale in comparison. So one requires courage to live in this world. So if C.S. Lewis said that courage is all the virtues at their testing point, you could argue that wisdom is equally critical in that it's how you understand what the other virtues are. Without the ability to learn, that's what wisdom is, the love of knowledge, the love of truth. Without this, how does one know anything? Without the ability to read, without the ability to interpret information, without the ability to get to the bottom of something, to study it. Epictetus would also say that sort of the chief task of the philosopher is to be able to think about their own thoughts. So it's not just what you consume. All of that is super important. But without the ability to have self-awareness, to examine oneself, what good is all of that? The Stoics approach things from a mindset of humility and self-awareness. Epictetus says it's impossible to learn that which we think we already know. In that sense, Socrates, one of the sort of forebearers of Stoicism, is an illustrative example. This idea that our wisdom comes from our lack of wisdom. By admitting how little we know, we're able to learn more. Conceit, the Stoics thought, was the impediment to wisdom, the impediment to virtue. If you think you're perfect, if you think you know everything, you can't get any better and you can't improve. So the Stoics are on this lifelong journey of self-improvement, of self-discovery, of knowledge. And that's what wisdom is. That's what allows us to know what cause is just or unjust, what the right amount of courage in a situation is, what to engage and how to engage, what the right amount of it is. So without wisdom, all the other virtues are pointless. Conversely, wisdom is what helps us understand what and how to wield the other virtues. Almost every day for the last 2 years, I've been working on my newest book, Discipline is Destiny, The Power of Self-Control, which is about precisely that, the day-to-dayness of what it takes to do hard things. Discipline is the way that you become great at it, and discipline is what makes you great at whatever you do and whoever you are. The new book is out September 27th, but we have a bunch of awesome pre-order bonuses you can check out at dailystoic.com/preorder. I'll sign your copy. You can get actually pages from the manuscript signed by me that I wrote while working on the book. You get bonus chapters. You get the playlist that I wrote the book to, plus a bunch of other awesome stuff. I can't wait to share it with you. Check it out. Discipline is Destiny, September 27th, everywhere books are sold. You get pre-order bonuses at dailystoic.com/preorder. In a world of distraction and excess, self-discipline is a critical virtue. Stoicism is about an imposed self-discipline. Dwight Eisenhower famously said that freedom is really the opportunity for self-discipline. That's what virtue is. It's you deciding what you're going to do and not do. Epictetus famously said that Stoicism could be summed up in two key words: persist and resist. Some things you do, you keep doing, even when it's hard, even when you don't want to, say getting up early, persevering on a difficult project, and some things you don't do. You don't do hard drugs, or you don't cheat on your spouse. Temperance has this kind of negative connotation, right? We think that temperance is like the temperance movement, which banned alcohol in the United States. No, temperance for the Stoics is about moderation. It's about self-control. Seneca talks about what's the proper limits for a person. Epictetus talks about not setting your heart on so many things, about constraining your desires, about being in control of yourself. Self-discipline is having the fortitude, the strength, the will to avoid the wrong thing. Marcus Aurelius specifically learns about temperance from Antoninus, who he said he admired his ability to enjoy the things that people had trouble enjoying and abstain from the things that most people had trouble abstaining from. To me, that's the perfect definition of temperance and self-control, which I think Cicero properly defines as a polish on life. It is the polish on a good person. We admire the people who, despite their success, despite their wealth, despite their fame, despite their power, are in control of themselves and their urges and their desires. Stoicism is a philosophy of rugged individualism, sure, but the Stoics return to this idea of the common good over and over and over again. Marcus Aurelius says that the fruit of this good life is good character and acts for the common good. In fact, the key difference between the Stoics and the Epicureans is that one was involved in civic life, tried to contribute to the polis, to the city, and the other sort of retreated to their own individual spiritual development. So justice is this key virtue. I think when the Stoics are talking about justice, they mean it in the social contract sense of the word. They mean it in the sense of the golden rule, how we treat people, the ethical standards that we guide our own behavior by. Marcus Aurelius says, just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. That's what I think he means by justice. You think of Cato, who refuses to take bribes, who fights to preserve the Roman Republic, the old ways of doing things. You think of Marcus Aurelius in the depths of the Antonine Plague selling off the palace furnishings to pay down Rome's debts. How different that is than the corrupt leaders who spent frivolously on themselves, who indulged a life of luxury. To me, there's a sign down the street from my house in Austin where I like to go running, and it was put there by the football player Hollywood Henderson, and it says, leave this place better than you found it. To me, that's the embodiment of the Stoic idea of justice. I think it's also important that justice isn't just about ourselves, our own sphere of interests. Marcus Aurelius famously says in Meditations, as he's listing what justice is, he says, and remember that you can commit an injustice by doing nothing, by being indifferent, by being too ruggedly individualistic, by caring only about yourself, by focusing so narrowly on what's up to you right now that's easy. And this is a criticism against the Stoics as well. I mean, Marcus Aurelius doesn't do anything about slavery. He's a reader of Epictetus, and he never seems to question whether a human being should be able to own another human being. Doesn't seem to question the brutality of the wars that he fought in. But that's the idea, that you're supposed to commit justice with what you do, but remembering that being too selfish, ignoring, not following these Stoic principles can also contribute to injustice in the world, and that's not good either. I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe. But what I really want you to subscribe to is our daily Stoic email, 1 bit of Stoic wisdom, totally for free to the largest community of Stoics ever in existence. You can sign up at dailystoic.com/email. There's no spam. You can unsubscribe at any time. I love sending it. I've sent it every day for the last 6 years, and I hope to see you there at dailystoic.com/email.